Buddy, welcome.
Welcome,
Welcome,
Brady and David,
hello, David.
Monica.
Good to be here.
Hi,
Yes,
everyone.
good to see you. Good to see all your familiar faces. And Brady, is the first time I meet you. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And
Nice
welcome,
to meet you
Brendan.
all.
So we're just going to give it a few more minutes to have a full room here. Welcome, David. Alistair and Suzette are together. That is very intriguing. That is very intriguing. Hello, David. Welcome.
Morning. Thank you.
Hey, David. We got lots of Davids
David.
today.
We're just giving it a minute or two more to see if someone else is coming, and then we'll get started. Where are you calling from, Alistair and Suzette? Because you're supposed to be in a different place.
Here, we'll give you a hint. We're in Vermont.
Okay.
Is that any clue?
That's a big enough clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, put your name wherever you're from, maybe put in the chat box.
Yeah, let's do that as we are settling into the space here. And I'll do that too.
Welcome, Brandon.
Hello, Brendan. Nice to see you. Welcome. Okay, here we are.
Yeah, let's get started. What shall we?
And California, Canada. Wow. So I'm calling from France, Corsica. I guess I'm the only one on this side of the ocean. Yeah, so welcome everybody, and thank you for taking the time on this beautiful All Saints Day to be with us for about an hour. We're going to be here for about 75 minutes altogether. And our intention here, I'm Claire Molinar, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm the creator of Unique Self Emergence, and I'm here with David Cicerki, who's my partner in offering this to the world. And yes, our intention here at this hour that we're together is really to give you a taste of first of all, a sense of the unique self-emergence process, which is a psycho-spiritual technology that I've developed with my previous colleague, Barbara Alexander. And it's psycho-spiritual technology that has been designed to activate that consciousness called unique self. So we're going to share information about how that we make that work and how it works. But what our most important intention here is to give you a taste, an experiential taste of the field that is created when we are together in practice and we activate our unique self-consciousness and what is possible. So it's a small experiential workshop, and we'll also be sharing a lot of information. So I'll start by giving you a sense of the framework, and then we'll go straight into practice. So you can go to the next slide, David, please.
Yeah.
And
So
actually,
first,
yes, David, please give us a little bit of context first before we go to the actual.
Yeah, context is so important, and because it orients us to what we're really talking about. Welcome, Krishnan. Welcome, Aikido brother. All right. So here's the context that we're looking at here. We live in a time between stories. Some of us have heard this before, some of us haven't. And by stories, we mean making sense of reality. Like, what are we doing here? Who are we? I mean, looking around at our society, right? There's so much confusion. There's so much crisis of identity, of who we are. Who am I? What are we doing here? So we're living in a time between stories because the new story hasn't quite emerged and the old stories don't quite work anymore. So what are the old stories? Well, we have the traditional story. The traditional story for thousands of years has been a story about my people having the truth, right? And it's usually the religion of wherever I'm from, and there's a right way to do things, there's a wrong way to do things. And they're timeless, the traditional story. Now, the downside of that traditional story is that you have ethnocentrism. It's a lot about just our people are the saved people and everyone else is damned, right? Also is oftentimes sexist, homophobic, like anti-body, right? So the traditional story, it's not the whole story, right? But we can gather some sparks of it and bring it forward. But we have another story. What's that other story? We have the modern story. And the modern story is, the last 500 or so years, is I can do whatever I want. We can achieve together however we want to. So, the scientific rational paradigm of, I set out to explore and conquer and to make things happen and to create whatever it is that's in my imagination. And it's everyone out for themselves. We actually don't have a shared identity. We just are all independent actors in this story that's, you're going to go and have your success, whatever that is for you. But of course, the downside of the modern story, while it's been so beneficial to technology and science and medicine, it's caused the destruction of our biosphere, right? Our biosphere, we're in the next 20, 25 years, there's so many, what's the word? We're going to go beyond our capacity to live on this earth based on a lot of the science that's out there. So it doesn't quite work either. What's another story we have? Well, we have the postmodern story, the critique of modernity that says all that modern stuff is BS. Actually, there is no story at all. Even the story that I can achieve whatever I want, that's a story that's made up. And ultimately, the postmodern story says you create your own story. And there's 7 billion unique stories, and they're all on their own journey. And the beautiful thing, of course, is that we can create our own story. But the downside is that we don't have a shared story. So there's actually, if it's all made up, then there's no ultimate story that binds us. And so here we are in this time between stories at a time of what's called the meta crisis, where you have, climate change is only one of the crises that we're facing, but there's a crisis of crises that is, our entire civilization is actually at stake based on not just the climate change, but also you have, nuclear weapons, you have AI technology that's exponentially growing out of control in many ways. There was just a petition that was sent around about this to stop the progress of AI because it's going to be, there's going to be a challenge to our very existence here. So we have this meta crisis globally, and we don't have a story that's global, that binds us all, that unites us to actually respond and to ensure the survival of our species. So what is that new story? What could that be? What else could we see as the question of who am I? Who are we? What are we here for? Well, one thing that we know about evolution, because we live in an evolutionary universe, is that crisis is an evolutionary driver. Every time in evolutionary history there's been a crisis of any kind, what's emerged out of that crisis is something new, a new story, a new sense of what it means to be reality itself, right? In terms of being humans, then, that would mean that our crisis as humans requires us to evolve as humans, right? To actually transform who we think we are, the question of who am I? And all of us are living this question every day, whether we consciously ask it or not. So Dr. Mark Gaffney is our teacher and philosopher who came up with this theory of identity, of your unique self, which is the book here that's listed. And as Claire was saying, she and Mark and Barbara Alexander created the Unique Self Institute to respond to this question of who am I? Who are we as humans, and what are we here to do? And so the Unique Self Institute is dedicated to promoting this story, to enabling people to embody it and experience it. And it's an always evolving story, but there's some pretty important plot lines, which Claire's going to go into in a second, that actually give us a hint of, in a sense, of what actually is the deepest answer to that question at this point in time. So Claire, take us inside to some of these responses to who am I?
Thank you, David, for this beautiful drawing of the context. And I just want to invite everyone to feel in their body right now how they've reacted, how the body has reacted to David's description of where we are right now in time. What was your bodily response to that? I know that for me, there was a sort of a contraction and fear just by evoking that place that we are in right now. And that contraction is actually coming from a very specific self, which is that separate self, which is one self, one narrative that we live inside of, right? The narrative that, and the state and stage of consciousness that we've all had on this call, we've all had to experience as we came to form, as we came into this world. The baby arrives in this world and they're still immersed in this oceanic consciousness. And it takes us a few months to actually begin to realize that there is a me and a not me. And this is the whole story of the development of the child. The first glimmer of I am happens between 6 months and 9 months. And then we evolve at 3-year-old, we become really and identify to the body. And then there is this whole process of individuation that happens. So the separate self is a real station that we've all had to develop. And that is extremely important. We cannot live in this life without a strong identification to separate self. And when we speak about separate self, it's important to understand that, and here we are actually using the metaphor of a puzzle piece to describe it. It's really the sensation of being the single, the single puzzle piece, or being the skin and encapsulated body, this consciousness that lives in this body, and there's a me and a not me. And I have a story, this is my life, and it's pretty much the narrative that's built on self-reliance, on competence, on professionalism. We seek our own comfort or achievement, and we want to be right. We want to have a life, contribute, strive to achieve success. It's a very important part of who we are. And that's actually the story, that the self that has created the story of, that has brought us to this crisis, this existential crisis that we live in, because our whole civilization is built on that story of separation. But it's not the only self. And in the unique self theory, we distinguish the separate self from the true self. The true self, which is, if we keep the same narrative, the same metaphor of the puzzle piece, here in the true self, there are no more puzzle pieces. It's actually the whole puzzle has become one, because all the contours of all the puzzle pieces that make it have merged into one field. So what is that true self? That true self has been described by many different traditions, East and West, as the field of belonging, the ground of being. It's been called God, Adonai, Allah, Shiva, Atman. All the traditions have described this state of consciousness and the stage of consciousness in which we no longer feel the contours of our individuality, and we're merged into one field of consciousness. This is what some have called the experience of enlightenment, the experience of merging into the field, the source, the seamless coat of the universe. It's a state of consciousness that has been sought by by all the spiritual traditions, and all the spiritual traditions have developed certain techniques and practices in order to have a taste of that field. And again, here in that field, every contour of my individuality disappears, and there's no more. There's no me that can have that experience, because it's emerging. And so, as beautiful as that experience is, there is a re-emergence from that field when we come back to the personal. So if we have that experience of being merged into the one, there is a moment when we're going to come back into our reality, our sense of being back into our body, back into our consciousness. And from that place, there is a realization. There's a realization that there has been a realization that I am not that only that separate self. There is a ground of being that is activating me always, that's always already here. And that's the ground from which the consciousness of unique self becomes possible. Unique self has always been here as a possibility. It's always been here as an essence. However, from that place of realization of the true self, what we call the one, the possibility of unique self becomes real, and there are ways that we can activate that consciousness. So what does it mean to be a unique self? What does it mean to live as my unique self? What it means is to be a self that has come to that has awakened as a separate self, that is aware of one's contractions, that I'm aware of my contractions, I'm aware of the ways that I've built my personality, and the ways that I'm trapped into certain identifications that make me that contract me. And I've also had a taste of the true self. I also have had a realization that I'm not just that personality. I am not just that identification to all this stories that I live in. There is something bigger. There is a field that that from which I arise, that is so much more than my little separate self can grasp and understand. And that field I'm able to tap into it. From that place of that connection to the field, the unique self can arise, because now it's no longer the personal that has no connection to the field. It's the personal, after the transpersonal. It's the personal 2.0, in a way. From that place, I realize that my essence that is unique, that I am a unique expression of that field. And that if I was a tree, we're using the metaphor of a puzzle piece here. But if we use the metaphor of a tree, as unique self, as separate self, I would be this tree, but I have no idea that I'm in the forest, and there's a whole interconnectivity that is happening to make me that tree, and that I'm rooted in the soil, and there is a whole mycelial interconnectivity that happens through the soil and through the air, and I live in this whole organism, which would be true self. When I arise as unique self, I have the lived experience of being grounded in that soil, of breathing through that air, and I become alive and activated. And this is the possibility for each of us as human beings to become this unique expression of the living field that animates us every moment, that's always already here, available to us. And the unique self-emergence is a technology that brings this home to our lived experience. So, yeah, I'm going to give you a little more information, and then we'll go into our experience. So, as David said, Dr. Mark Gaffney developed this beautiful teachings about the unique self, and they draw from many traditions. And as I just presented, there's also quite a lot of Western psychological understanding of this human development through the separate self, the process of individuation. Then there's also that we are bringing. So, David, could you move the slides a little more? So, yes. So we're bringing this whole understanding of how the separate self can tap into the living field, the ground of being that is the true self, which draws from all this understanding from the spiritual traditions. So what we've developed with the unique self-emergence process is a map. And the map is not the territory, but it helps to actually navigate this thing called life. And so maybe some of you here are familiar with this yellow arrow, which we call the U process. It's a transformation technology that was developed by MIT lab scholar Otto Scharmer. And basically what it says is that in order to change, we need to go down. There's a descent into source, what Otto Scharmer calls source. Change does not happen by doing the same old thing. So separate self remains a separate self if it stays in its own box, right? Change and transformation only happens if there is a descent into something that's bigger than me. If there is a move from my head and my conditioning into my heart, my way of knowing from the heart, and then from the heart into my body. So there are different ways of knowing things, not just the head, but also from the heart and from the body. And this descent, and what Otto Scharmer describes the descent into the U, the bottom of the U, we call it the descent into true self, the ground of being that always animates us, that's always already here. And so from that descent from separate self to true self, then there can be an arising as unique self. This arising as unique self comes only when we've drunk from the animating field of the you, of the true self, of the field. And so as unique self, I realize that not only I have unique contours, but my unique contours are actually the currency of my capacity to be in the field with others. It's because I'm unique that I contribute to the whole. And there's a realization that I'm not just unique, I'm actually participating in the ever-evolving field by giving my unique gifts into the world. So it's again, with the if I take the metaphor of the forest as a tree, as unique self, not only am I starting to to feel and to be activated by the mycelial connections under my roots, but also and in my branches. But now I'm realizing that every movement that I do is participating in the regeneration of the whole and the ever evolving creativity. So we become part of a living system, and we are both completely informed and nourished by the whole, but we're also completely ourselves and unique. This is the idea. And so the unique self-emergence process is not just a description of this journey, but it's also a technology that has developed practices for each of the steps that allows us to move from one to the next, to the next, to the next. So as separate self, I need to awaken and to realize what keeps me, in order to come out of jail, we need to know we're in one. So we need to know what our gel is made of. As true self, there are practices and technologies that allow us to cultivate that capacity to be in as one, to be nourished by the one. And then as unique self and evolutionary unique self, there are practices that help us emerge as our unique self. So that was a lot of talking. Thank you for hanging in there with me. And now let's go into practice. Yeah, so of course, this is a short workshop and we're just going to give you a taste of each station. But yeah, and even if you've done this a million times in your life, what we're developing here, what we're doing here is not just having the experience, it's actually being together and having an experience together. So I want to insist on that because this is really the field that we're creating together. So I would like for to get a sense of that separate self, and I'm sure all of you already have a sense of that, but let's see if we can do this together. So recall a time when you had a contraction, something that kind of made you feel upset or sad or scared, anything that created a sense of contraction in your body. And for me, the last time was that when I heard David describe the existential risk that we're in. Yeah, so just choose one moment when you felt that contraction. Could have been a fight with your partner, and just the slide says write down, but you can also just register in your mind. Feel into the sensations, the body, how the body felt, the feelings, the thoughts. What did you want to say? What was the story? Usually there are three components. There is a bodily feeling, there's an emotion attached to it, and there is a story. Thoughts, body, heart, feelings. And it might help to just stay with that and close your eyes to stay with yourself and feel that contraction. Just try and reactivate it. And now you may put a hand on your chest or even touch your face. Just make contact with your body and ask yourself, what is it that I care about? What was I caring about in that moment? What was it that was important for me then? And just allow for any answer to be the answer. Don't try and make it, don't try and judge it with your mind. Just allow for that answer to be here. And be with it. And now ask yourself, what would it be like if I had just a little more, like 2%, just a little more compassion for myself in this moment? Simple question. So you had a contraction, the story happened, there were some reactions in the body, in the mind, and you're turning towards yourself and asking yourself, what is it that I cared about? And what would it be like if I had a little tiny percent more compassion for myself in this moment? So we're going to send you into breakout rooms for a few minutes, like 4 minutes each. You'll have 3 minutes to share what you noticed, what you cared about. And the other partners might reflect back for a minute. Just reflecting. And then you switch. So we'll give you 4 and 4 minutes, and we'll bring you back into the main room after that. David, do we have only dyads, or do we also have a triad?
Well, we have dyads, and then Alistair and Suzette will
Okay.
be in a triad.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any questions? It looks like we lost someone. So actually, Brady. No, Monica. Sorry, Alistair and Suzette. You two go together, and then I'm going to switch someone else here. Okay.
Any
Any questions?
before
Everyone's
you
good?
leave? Are we good?
Okay.
Okay, see
Opening
you
them up.
in a little while.
About 8 minutes. We'll let you know when to switch. Okay. And maybe just remember for the true self, just that there may be just some moments of silence are totally fine. Just like breathing.
And put the recording back too early because I was afraid to forget. I forgot that it takes a while.
Yeah.
Okay, well, see all the smiling faces. Welcome back. Yeah, so we just had a little taste of that separate self, right? Just a tiny little taste, and the what happens when we actually turn back to ourselves to welcome it, to welcome that part of us, right? So now we're going to get it. We are going to experience something different. And for that, I'd like for you to find your partner, the partner you just left on the screen, and to pin them. So in order to pin them, you click on the little blue dots that are on the left side of their screen, and you scroll down to pin. And let me know when you've all pinned. Besides Alistair and Suzette, you're going to do it live, which is even better. Yeah. So
I don't think I'm pinned to anyone. I mean, I don't think I did it the right way.
I didn't
Might
do
help
it.
me.
Either.
okay.
Oh, good, I'm
David,
not
do
the
you
only
know
one.
how to give better instructions
So-
that I did?
So
It was
you're pinning someone else, and then they'll pin you. You won't know if you're pinned or not, but what you'll see is just them in there. So
Oh, that's
if
right.
who was your partner, Monica?
Brady.
Bradley. Brady. So you go to Brady's
Brady.
picture at the top right with the 3 dots and
Oh.
click pin.
So
There
I go to Brady's picture, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There it is. I did it.
Yeah.
Well done, David.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So
So-
everyone should just see one person in front of them and maybe Claire at the top or something.
Do you all have your partner in front of you?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yay, well done. Okay, we're going to do an exercise called eye gazing, and probably many of you have done it before. So we're each going to be gazing into our partner's eyes.
I can't see him.
So Alistair and Suzette, I think you should be facing each other. It'll be much
And
easier.
Monica,
And
Monica,
Are
you
we-
still can't see Brady.
I can
No,
see you.
okay.
I can see into you there. So you've got me.
So I'm sorry about this, but I have to go to these three dots on Brady's picture.
yes,
And then I get this, I have to fix it.
so if you go
Yeah.
down, if you
Pin.
scroll down,
Yes. Oh, I got it. Thank you.
got it.
Sorry.
Well done.
So,
Okay.
Okay, so everybody is standing in front of their partner, either in person or on the screen. Yeah. And just begin to be with the sensations. There's going to be a lot of filters that come in your mind, right, when you start doing this. So just let the filters come and go. There's also a story that you've heard from them. So all of this is passing by, let it come and go. And just start to connect to that which is watching you, which you are watching. There's sensations, feelings, stories, thoughts that are moving through. And behind that, there's true self watching true self, consciousness watching consciousness. The same I, which is watching itself. And allow for all the thoughts, all the feelings, the sensations to come and go, just like clouds passing in the sky. You're aware of your breathing, you're aware of your body sitting on the chair, the sound of my voice, the thinking that moves through your mind. And behind that, there's that empty awareness, aware of itself, watching that which is watching itself through the screen. What if that awareness was just one awareness? That consciousness that is gazing back at you is the same consciousness that is gazing through your eyes. And that awareness, that consciousness, does it have a beginning? Did it start somewhere? Where was it born? When was it born? Does it have an end? Does it finish somewhere? Does it have boundaries? Will it ever die? Just rest in this one, in the one. That animates your whole being. the breathless you. That one is the true self. For a few more breaths, rest in that one. And allow your body to fully absorb the aliveness and the vibrancy of that frequency from which each one of us here arises as your unique self. And from that place, it's very hard to move because we all want to stay here, right? There's a peace that we don't want to leave. So, for the sake of this little experience, we're going to move on, and I'm going to hand it over to David to take us in to the chaste unique self.
Yeah, so just staying in that presence, you can unpin your screen so you can see everyone. But I want to invite you just to continue being present and noticing what's coming up, what your sensations are, your feelings, your thoughts. And notice that out of this spaciousness of true self, out of the entire puzzle itself, the entire field of awareness, you are experiencing a unique perspective of that awareness, of that reality. That you have sensations that are uniquely yours. A breath that you are experiencing as breathing. You have feelings that are experienced by you and not by anyone else. And notice that you have a unique set of desires, allurements, a unique story that's unfolding in this unique expression that belongs to no one else but you. And if your eyes are closed, you can gently open them and look at the screen and see all the other unique expressions of the one in front of us. We can see that there's a unique quality of presence that is embodied in each one on this screen. So if you look at Krishnan, there's a specific quality of Krishnan-ness that is different from Daniel-ness. There's a quality of Monica-ness that is different from David Stephen-ness. There's a quality of Jenny-ness. Just sort of take it in for a moment, of Brady-ness, of Brandon-ness, of David Moore-ness, of Suzette-ness. So each of us are actually expressing a unique perspective. We all have our unique perspective that no one that ever was, is, or will be can experience, can express. Each of us, each of you, have a unique quality of presence that no one that ever was, is, or will be can express. You have a unique set of desires, a unique set of needs. You also have a unique set of gifts that only you can give in your unique circle of influence and intimacy. In your life, of all the relationships, all the interactions that you have, there's needs that are uniquely calling you. And you have gifts within you that are uniquely needed to meet those needs. You have a unique story to live, a unique way, as Dr. Mark often says, a unique way of living, laughing, and loving that only you can express. This is what it feels like to be a unique self. The contours of your very being are actually built into the fabric of reality. All of us are woven into this seamless coat of the universe that is seamless, but as Dr. Mark says, is also not featureless, that each of us are unique features of this entire cosmic quilt or coat. And as such, if each of us has a unique gift to give in our unique circle of intimacy, each of us has a unique greatness that no one else has. And so I'm going to share our primary practice, or one of our core practices as unique selves, which is Confessions of Greatness. But before I do, I'm going to read this quote from Abraham Cook, who is a lineage teacher from Dr. Mark of the Hebrew wisdom tradition. The essence of who you are is revealed in your moments of greatness. And notice that when we say greatness here, as unique self, it's clear, oh, greatness, everyone has greatness. It's not the egoic greatness of like being better or worse than, or sort of conquering or something like that. It's greatness. You have unique gifts that only you can give that are needed. And so we're going to practice confessions of greatness. Confessions of greatness is when you recall a time when you felt radically alive, giving your unique gift in response to what's needed. And we'll do this in breakouts, and I'll just share with you an example from my own life. And so the idea is to tap into it and feel it in your body. What is it? What's the associated feeling, the quality of it? What were you doing? And then share it with someone else. And let that be an inspiration for them to discover their and confess their greatness. So I teach Aikido to teenagers. And this has been one of the gifts of my life that it brings me so much joy. So Aikido is a martial art. Krishnan knows, we train together. And it's a Japanese martial art that is the art of peace. Helps you move and feel your connection with each other and yourselves. And when I'm teaching Aikido to teens, I just feel so alive. And I'm paying attention to each individual teen. I'm looking for what they need. I'm giving them very precise feedback. I'm acknowledging what they're good at and how they improve. I'm facilitating ways that they can connect with each other and feel their own center and feel their own greatness. And it's just like, even if I'm tired or in a bad mood that day, I walk into the dojo and I see these kids and I just light up because I just love these kids so much and I love doing what I'm doing. And also somehow there's something that comes through me. Even if I don't know what I'm going to teach that day, I just listen and something comes through me and the energy of the whole space heightens. And so I feel a lot of joy. I feel just my entire body lighting up. I'm always thinking of what the precise needs at the moment. And so that's my confession of greatness. So now I invite everyone to tap into their own. So, and it's, I'm sure you can find it. Recall a time when you felt radically alive, giving your gift in response to what was needed. So just find it now and feel into it. So bring yourself back to that moment. And when you can go back to that moment, feel into what are the qualities that are present in that moment? What's it like? And what are you doing? So we're going to put you into breakouts. And Claire, I think we'll need to do a little bit shorter breakouts because, yeah, so we'll go, how about 6 minutes total in breakouts? So it'll be 2 minutes sharing. This is my confession of greatness. 1 minute reflection with the same partner, and then we'll come back. Questions? Okay.
Okay, so we'll open it.
Opening them up. Yeah, thanks, Claire. Did we do it at the same time? I think we did. Okay.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. I see lots of smiles. That's a good sign. And yeah, that really is a good sign because joy is an aftertaste, is kind of a side effect, actually, not an aftertaste, but a side effect of unique self, right? Of being in one's unique self. It actually feels joyous. And joy is one of the highest energy that we can experience and also transmit. It's such a magical energy. So I'm glad to see a lot of joy in the screen as you come back from your sharings. And I know it would have been optimal if you had more time to actually tap into the experience and to have more time to share it. And yet, it's just a little taste. So welcome back. So before I hand it over to David, who's going to tell us a little more about ways in which you can do work more with us, is I want to say that beyond everything, this work is really about harnessing the power of love. I mean, really, I don't really know how to say it differently. It's about harnessing the power of cultivating. It's about cultivating and learning to give and receive love from our unique prism, from our unique instrument. So all the things that we learn here are about activating that energy in our instrument, as we use self as instrument, and all the techniques and the practices that we engage are about becoming more skillful at harnessing the energy of outrageous love. We call it outrageous because it's impossible to describe, and it's impossible to contain. That's really the highest energy that we can harness in the universe. So, thank you for playing with us today. And I'm going to hand it over to David to share a little more about how we work.
And I'd love just to if 30 seconds, if you could put in the chat box, just anything about your experience just now that you can share. Just what was that like? What did you feel? Just for 30 seconds, and then we'll move on because we don't have a whole lot of time. Because I just want to get a sense of where people are at. Just what's a quality that you experienced? What was it like for you? Alive, feel so alive. I was seen.
Mm.
it's true that an experience of unique self is joyous. Yes. Brandon, amazing how connected Jenny and my experiences were. Connected. My partner's self speaking, it was beautiful. Tingly energy up my spine, a lot of joy, love, remembering to love again. Yeah. Right. And this is just a taste. It's just a taste. And so the beauty of anything that's real, it sort of is fractal in nature. So we can do it in this very brief 75-minute workshop and get a taste of each of them. And we can do it every day. And we can also do it over the course of 12 months and imagine the depth and the power and the transformation that's possible. So we are actually starting another cohort of Unique Self-Emergence starting in April of 2026. And in this 12-month program, there's a certification track for coaches, counselors, therapists, and then there's the personal track for people who want to just go through it for their own transformation and to discover more aliveness and purpose and meaning in their life. And we go through 4 modules. So the first module, separate self module, where we do a whole bunch of practices around that. Module 2, true self. Module 3, unique self. Module 4, evolutionary unique self. And you'll leave this program with literally a lifetime of practices and clarity and clarification process of what it is you're here to do. Like this is, I mean, I do this every day myself, and I return to my unique risk statement and I tap into it all the time. I mean, it helps that I'm teaching and coaching this stuff too. But in any case, it's a lifetime of practice that you leave with after going through this program and a community of people doing it with you. And so I really, if you're at all interested, or if you have a friend that you think might be, really ripe for this, let them know about it. And you can have an info call with us. If you want, you can, let me put the email, or can you put the email in the chat box, Claire? Info@Unique Self. So you can email us to do a free call. It's just a discernment call, just to be in the exploration together, to experience, like, what's my allurements telling me, right? Clarifying what those are. If you want, you can also apply for the program. I'll put that in the chat box. In fact, let me just do that now so that, here, I'll just do this. There it is. So you have the email, you have the application. The application just expresses interest and lets us start a conversation of discernment about whether it's right for you. And you may want to know the cost of the program. What did we say? I think we'd have to go back and double check what we finalized. But there's a different cost for the certification and the personal track. But let me just say that it's compared to like other kinds of personal transformation programs out there or certifications, it's like, wow, really? It's not very much. It's very affordable. So with that being said, any final comments or questions that you have about anything? And if you have to rush off, then you feel free to go. But
No, I just want to say thank you guys for throwing this on. I've gotten pretty good at playing the game of the separate self, and I'm really starting to get some pretty beautiful glimpses into the true self and unique self, and really enjoying opportunities and experiences to connect with others on the path. So I just want to thank you all for facilitating this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here, Brady. Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Brady.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah, and thank you, everyone. Anyone else has a question before we leave? Question or a comment? David.
So my experience was so beautiful because it took me through the separate self and the pain and the suffering of a moment that really mattered to me, through a moment of greatness that really mattered to me, and the contrast is extraordinary, and to know that both of those are possible and going on all the time, and there's somewhere along the way that I'm going to be able to lean more into the greatness with intention. So I derive all of that from this hour, with this conversation. It was just wonderful. Thank you all.
Oh, thank you for sharing. It's beautiful. Yeah. And before we leave, can you feel all the connection, the web of connection that we just created in just an hour? We don't know each other. We're like in all different places in the world. And this is real. This is real. And we can live like that. We can live with that consciousness and with that seeing each other through these eyes of unique self. So thank you all for being here live. It was a gift for us as well.
And if anyone needs to stay on and ask questions, you're welcome to, but otherwise, we are complete. Thank you all. Have a
Thank
great,
you.
wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
Bye. I just